shift drive charging. Frame shift drive charging. Frame shift drive charging. Frame shift drive charging.
I knew it. I need to set it to fastest route possible.
Frame shift drive charging.
Fuel up. Forgot to pick up a fuel scoop.
Frame shift drive charging.
I'll fuel up for the next one, medium security. That means they got starport, star stations. jumps. Honestly, I think I can make it. Fuel up in that next station.
Frameshift drive charging.
Fuel halfway, under. I recommend we fill up on this one. I think I can still make it, but coming up quick. Probably just zoom past it real quick. Fill up here real quick. Just a nice looking planet.
Alpha Lima Papa. Please follow standard docking procedures by order of the Imperial Flight Operations Bureau. Your docking request has been approved. Proceed at your earliest convenience to pad 36. are ready to engage the automatic docking system.
Alright, let this thing land itself.
Let me.
Landing gear deployed.
Landing safely completed. Commencing offload. The Imperial Flight Operations Bureau welcomes you to this facility, Commander.
Landing gear retracted.
You have been disengaged from the dock. Please observe speed restrictions upon exiting. Station limits exceeded. Imperial Flight Operations Bureau wishes you well on your journey.
Charging. Frame shift drive charging. Four, three, two. Incoming mission critical message. Frame shift drive charging.
Alphaz161. Please note this station is under Imperial sovereignty. All regulations must be observed during docking procedures. Permission granted. We have prepared for your arrival on pad 4-2. We are ready to engage the automatic docking system.
Scan detected. Scan detected. Landing gear deployed.
Landing safely completed. You may alight when ready. The Imperial Flight Operations Bureau welcomes you to this facility, Commander. careful to observe restrictions when leaving the station. Facility boundary exceeded. Please take care on your journey.
4, 3, 2, 1. Frameshift drive charging. Disengaged. Frame shift drive charging. Frame shift drive charging. Scoop disengaged. Frame shift drive charging.
Of Lakon Spaceways shareholders has voted to replace several members of the company's board of directors with new management. At an emergency general meeting, investors put forward a resolution to remove selected directors in accordance with Lakon's Articles of Association. The majority vote was in favor of this resolution. New appointees to the board have already stated that the rejected bid by federal shipbuilder Core Dynamics will be reappraised. Jupiter Rochester, the corporation's CEO, has welcomed the opportunity for discussions. Chairperson Naomi Landseer, who is one of the directors being replaced, told Vox Galactica, "It's no coincidence that the board..."
Shift drive charging.
members being voted out are the same ones who are against Core Dynamics owning the company. I am convinced that Rochester's people are bribing or threatening our shareholders to make sure this hostile takeover
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
goes through. Lakon Spaceways is currently offering a 30% discount on sales of ASM Scout S, Diamondback Scout S, Keelback S, Type 7 transporters, and Type 10 defenders. Core Dynamics has applied a 30% markdown to sales of the Eagle Mark II and the Vulture, with a 20% discount for
Fuel scooping.
Federal assault ships, Federal dropships, and Federal gunships. Terrorism respite as Marlinists
Fuel scoop disengaged.
prepare for new homes. As independent colonies are set up for Marlinist refugees, there has been a lull in terrorist strikes from the Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army. In recent months, the paramilitary group launched multiple attacks across the Empire. Starports and administrative buildings were bombed and dozens of individuals assassinated, including Prince Harold and more distant members of the Duval family. However, the number of incidents has fallen drastically following successful operations by the Imperial Internal Security Service. After the Federal Security Service identified NMLA members aboard the Emigrants megaships, these were transferred to us for interrogation. We obtained information that enabled us to shut down many terrorist cells, although there is evidence that the NMLA's network remains widespread. In related news, hundreds of thousands of Marlinist refugees are preparing to occupy new colony systems established by the Sirius Corporation. Mass transportation will take place early next year, overseen by Safeguard Interstellar. The Empire, Federation and Sirius Gov have all agreed that the settlements will remain fully independent. The refugee population has already begun to determine its future social structure based on the principles of Marlinism. A transitional parliament has been formed by community leaders such as Dr. Jenna Fairfax, Aaron White and Amrita Ross. Democratic elections for a representative government will take place once the Marlinist colonies are operational. Rackham's Peak Outpost marks galactic zenith. Pilots Federation alert. Multi-billionaire Zachary Rackham's new orbital outpost at the galactic zenith is now operational. Rackham's Peak is situated in the HIP 58832 system, one of the highest practical locations above the galactic plane. Its construction was funded by Rackham Capital Investments, in conjunction with Universal Cartographics and other scientific research companies. Traders have been welcomed, although the increased distances between stars at the galaxy's fringes mean that vessels with a high jump range are recommended. Rackham's Peak is currently offering high prices for deliveries of beer, liquor, wine, Bast Snake Gin, Centauri Mega Gin, Chateau de Gin, Irene and Pearl Whiskey, Duran Goose Beer, Harmer Silver Sea Rum, Indie Bourbon, Conda Ale, Lady Anne Brandy, Elysian Evil Juice, Saxon Wine, Fruitus Cream and Wadiello Coup Froth. Mr.
Docking request granted.
Officiated at the outpost's opening ceremony, which was followed by an extravagant press party for media representatives and attending celebrities. He gave this statement: "The top of the galaxy is now open for business. Rackham's Peak is a free port where everyone is welcome, a place where explorers and entrepreneurs can enjoy drinks while overlooking the entire Milky Way. AM High Commanders." In related news, Rackham Capital and
Landing gear deployed.
Investments has agreed to pay a repairs bill from Universal Cartographics for the outpost sensor array control systems, which suffered fluid-related
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
damage during the party. Commodities delivered to build Marlinist colonies. Pilots Federation alert. Sirius Corporation has successfully gathered materials to construct new independent settlements for Marlinist emigrants. Both the Empire and the Federation accepted the proposal from Sirius Corporation to establish colonies for the political refugees, who have been the cause of increased tension between the superpowers. CEO Li Yongrui made this announcement. As always, the galactic community's immense contribution has made this achievement possible. The shipments of atmospheric processors, Auto-fabricators, structural regulators and water purifiers will be used to construct new outposts and settlements in 8 uninhabited systems. The Omega Merchant Command is now offering rewards at Ellis Gateway in the BD Plus 051146 system for all pilots who delivered commodities. Aaron White, a community leader among the refugees, commented on Vox Galactica, "I suppose we should be grateful that these colonies give us a chance of survival. But none of us wanted to set up our own kingdoms, only to remove the kings. And one day, we will." The Marlinist population is expected to be transferred from federal space to the new colonies in early 3307. Engineers boost ship module upgrading. Pilots Federation alert. The effectiveness of engineers upgrading for ship modules will be boosted until the 7th of January 3307. During this time, engineered weapons and modules will receive increased augmentation for the same amount of materials. This will apply to every workshop in Alliance, Imperial, Federal and Independent space. Laurie Jameson, an engineer based in the Shinrata Desra system, provided details to Vox Galactica on how this collaboration came about. After the Eurythia incident, some of us contacted Liz Ryder and offered our support. It was horrifying how her expertise had been abused by the NMLA, leaving her unfairly maligned as a terrorist
Released. Engines engaged.
supporter. There were concerns that her situation might reflect badly on engineers in general. We soon established communication links between every workshop and agreed to offer a universal boost to upgrades. Hopefully this will remind pilots how much we value their custom and that we remain a trustworthy resource. Mel Brandon, one of 4
Freight. Shift drive charging.
engineers in the Colonia region, commented, "It's about time that we all started talking to each other. Our services are valuable to the whole galaxy. We deserve better protection."
4, 3, 1. Engage.
Maybe we have to start protecting ourselves. Core Dynamics funds takeover with ship discounts. Pilots Federation alert. Prices for several Core Dynamics vessels have been temporarily reduced as part of an attempt to purchase Lakon Spaceways. The Shipbuilding Corporation
Fuel scooping.
has applied a 30% discount to sales of the Eagle Mark II and the Vulture.
System scan complete.
There is also a 20%
Scoop
discount on
disengaged.
sales of Federal assault ships, Federal dropships,
Freight. Shift drive charging.
and Federal gunships, although the Federal Navy rank requirements for each vessel continue to apply. The reduced prices are expected to last until the 30th of December 3300.
4, 3, 2, 1.
6. Core Dynamics recently made a proposal to acquire rival company Lakon Spaceways, which rejected the offer, then applied markdowns to its own ships to increase short-term profits. The Alliance Tribune's business reporter Earthen Karim speculated on these developments. CEO Jupiter Rochester remains tight-lipped on the reasons
Fuel scooping.
for these discounts, but it seems likely that he is raising funds for a more aggressive bid. Rumors are circulating of Lakon investors being bribed to sell their shares, or coerced into demanding that the board of directors accepts ownership by Core Dynamics. Many industry analysts are convinced that a hostile takeover of Lakon Spaceways is underway. If successful, we could see vessels that are commonly associated with the Alliance, such as the Chieftain and Type 10 Defender, manufactured by a federal
Fuel scoop disengaged.
corporation in the future.
Cannot comply. Cannot comply.
Outpost planned for the roof of space.
Cannot comply. Cannot comply.
Now Zachary Rackham is constructing a permanent outpost at the farthest system above the galactic plane. The orbital outpost will be located within the HIP 58832 system. This is commonly held to be at the galactic zenith, one of the highest locations that can practically be reached. The project is funded by the corporation Rackham Capital Investments, with the close involvement of Universal Cartographics and several other scientific organizations. The outpost's location will make it out
Drive charging.
Deal for gathering astronomical data on the overall structure of the galactic spiral. This historic scientific
4, 3, 2, 1.
Outpost planned for the roof of space. Multi-billionaire Zachary Rackham is constructing a permanent outpost at the farthest system above the galactic plane. The orbital outpost will be located within the HIP-5 8832 system. This is commonly held to be at the galactic zenith, one of the highest
Fuel scooping.
locations that can practically be reached. The project is funded by the corporation Rackham Capital Investments, with the
Fuel scoop disengaged.
close involvement of Universal Cartographics and several other scientific organizations. The outpost's location will make it ideal for gathering astronomical data on the overall structure of the galactic spiral. This historic scientific endeavor was remarked upon by Mr. Rackham from his private villa complex on the Rhea Archipelago. Back in my days of plying the trade routes in a second-hand Sidewinder, the idea of standing on the roof of space was an idle daydream. This new generation of pilots and ships will make my vision a reality. No doubt many important scientific observations will be made once the outpost is up and running, but more importantly, there'll be a bar, and the drinks are on me. A spokesperson for Rackham Capital Investments later confirmed that the outpost in the HIP-5 8832 system would be operational on the 17th of December 3306, but clarified that there was no legal guarantee for beverage reimbursement. Sirius Corporation campaigned to establish Marlinist colonies. Pilots Federation alert. Commodities are requested to create new settlements for Marlinist refugees who fled from the Empire to the Federation. Sirius Corporation has offered to resolve the current standoff between superpowers by establishing colonies where the refugees can live independently. Leon Rui, CEO of Sirius Corporation, summarized his proposal. It is clear that the Marlinists cannot return to the Empire and are a destabilizing presence within the Federation. We offer an alternative by constructing permanent habitats for their population. These will be self-governed and may freely trade with the galactic community. Sirius cannot stand by while the risk of interstellar war increases. I sincerely hope this leads to a more stable and profitable period for us all. After intense debate, both Congress and the Senate accepted the proposal, with the proviso that any refugees identified as NMLA members will be returned to the Empire. Dr. Jenna Fairfax, a Marlinist community leader, also offered her approval. We were forced to abandon our entire lives because of our political beliefs. This at least gives us a chance to have homes again. Traders are asked to deliver atmospheric processors, auto-fabricators, structural regulators and water purifiers to Ellis Gateway in the BD plus 051146 system. From there, the Omega Merchant Command will distribute resources for the colonization of up to 10 uninhabited systems. Coalsack Nebula Project gathers ammonia worlds. Pilots Federation alert. Explorers have catalogued many ammonia worlds for a Sirius atmospheric.
Sir Kruger, Alpha, Lima, Alpha. Please submit a landing request on approach, Commander.
Terraforming project
Descend
for
directly from
Coalsack.
A27. You are approved for automated docking.
Landing gear deployed. Incoming mission critical message. disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
This corporation is one of several companies that are working in partnership with the Alliance to
4, 3,
commercially exploit the region. Project Director Dr. Maximilian North announced the successful completion of the initiative. The data provided on planets with ammonia-based atmospheres will be invaluable to our terraforming simulations. With our new environmental techniques, some of these poisonous worlds within the nebula may one day become habitable. Sirius Atmospherics has confirmed that payouts for all contributing pilots are now available at Betancourt Base in the Muscadark Region PJ-PB61 system. As the expansion into the Coalsack Nebula progresses,
frameshift drive charging.
Commodore Morag Halloran of the Alliance Defense Force commented on the possibility of further attacks from the Thargoids. Anti-Xeno security is not as stringent as we had planned, due to the low availability of
4, 3,
ADF vessels and Aegis being impacted by federal and imperial defunding. It may be necessary to call upon the galactic community again, should we encounter further interference from the Thargoids. Universal increase to combat bond and anti-Xeno payouts.
System scan complete.
Pilots Federation alert. The values of combat bonds and anti-Xeno bonds have
Frameshift drive charging.
increased as factions focus on bolstering defenses. Financial instability and the current political tensions have led to factions upscaling their rewards for combat bonds, as well as bonds.
4, 3, 2,
It's received for destroying Thargoid vessels. These increases to anti-Xeno and combat bonds will be in effect across Alliance, Federal, Imperial and Independent space. They can be processed as usual at any starport offering the relevant services. This follows a turbulent period of
fuel scooping.
many marketplaces that has impacted commodity prices, as well as producing a boost to the value of bounty vouchers. The changes were remarked upon
Fuel scoop disengaged.
by Professor Ophelia Kaufman, head of economics at Orion Independent University. As anticipated, the ongoing volatility of financial markets has led to further widespread revaluation. With heightened hostility between the Empire and the Federation, coupled with terrorist attacks and a resurgence in Thargoid activity, it is hardly surprising that every faction now places a greater premium on protecting their citizens. Although some may view the current tranche of changes as inevitable or overdue, there may well be additional revaluing in other fields as a result of competing market forces. The only certainty is a further uncertainty. Marlinist refugee crisis grows critical. Hundreds of thousands of political refugees who fled from the Empire to the Federation have brought both superpowers to the brink of conflict. The Marlinists, who believe in restructuring the Empire into a republic, escaped crackdowns in several Imperial systems during a hunt for neo-Marlinist terrorists. The Federation has provided temporary safe haven for the refugees. However, security concerns proved to be justified when the NMLA bombed a federal starport where captured members were being held. The Federal Security Service provided this update. The Marlinists themselves have informed us of more individuals among them with NMLA connections. The risk of terrorism from this population is now low, although it's impossible to know exactly how many have been radicalized. There have been heated debates in Congress over granting citizenship to the Marlinists. President Hudson insisted that all illegal aliens must be deported and has strengthened the Federal Navy as a defensive measure in light of the Empire's warnings. Conversely, Shadow President Winters argued that turning away starving refugees to face imprisonment and discrimination would be immoral. She also noted that the same principles of democratic representation found in Marlinism are enshrined in the Federal Accord. This disagreement between the Republican and Liberal parties has led to stalemate, with the fate of the Marlinists hanging in the balance. Lakon Spaceways discounts selected ships. Pilots Federation alert. Temporary price reductions have been announced for several Lakon vessels in an effort to increase short-term profits.
Start Google Alphaz161 Papa. This is the Flight Operations Department. Please comply with established docking procedures, Commander.
Lakon Spaceways has applied a 30% discount on sales of the following ship types: Asp Scout, Diamondback Scout, Keelback, Type 7 Transporter, Type 10 Defender. The reduced prices are expected to last until the 30th of December 3306. Some industry analysts believe this is an attempt to increase short-term payouts for Lakon's shareholders, many of whom have complained about falling dividends. Other investors have publicly pressured the company to accept a takeover bid from the federal corporation Core Dynamics. These issues were addressed by Naomi Lancia, chairperson of Lakon's board of directors. It is true that profit margins are not as impressive as in previous years, but we can assure all stakeholders and customers that Lakon Spaceways remains financially secure. We project an upswing in military
Landing gear deployed.
contracts during this turbulent time, and our achievements on behalf of the Alliance position us as one of the galaxy's premier shipbuilders. Capital ship construction initiatives conclude.
You are clear for automated approach, Commander.
Pilots Federation alert. Parallel campaigns in the Empire and the Federation to provide commodities for building new capital ships have ended. The Federal...
Landing successful. Docking restraints engaged.
Navy's construction...
Mission objective complete. Cargo hold at maximum capacity. Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
Ship descent complete. Departure authorized. This is a no-fire zone, Commander. Store your weapons immediately.
Frame shift drive charging.
You have left the no-fire zone. Have a safe trip, Commander.
4, 3, 2, 1. Fuel scooping. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, one. Engage. System scan complete. Frame shift drive charging. Four, Landing gear deployed. Docking. Successful. Engines disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. System scan complete. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. Fuel scooping. disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
Program was boosted by deliveries of building
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
fabricators, microbial furnaces, and energy grid assemblies. Contributing pilots can now collect their rewards at Schweikert City in the Perutis system. As a result, 5 newly completed Farragut-class battle cruisers will become operational within a matter of days. They are expected to be patrolling in several
Fuel scooping.
federal systems including Atropos, Imankava, LHS-142, LFT-367, and Wolf-25. The Imperial Navy is also rewarding all traders who delivered building fabricators, microbial furnaces, and energy grid assemblies for use in its shipyards. Payments can be collected from Miyasaka Orbit
Fuel scoop disengaged.
in the man system. It has been confirmed
Frameshift drive charging.
that 4 new Majestic-class interdictors will shortly join the fleet. File flight plans suggest that their shakedown cruises will take place in the Kaimekilo, Oranica, Theta Indi, and Zelano systems.
4, 3, 1. Engage.
As well as capital ships, Federal Congress and the Imperial Senate have both increased funding for other military operations, including support vessels and ground forces. Explorers needed for Coalsack Nebula project. Pilots Federation alert.
Fuel scooping.
Sirius Atmospherics has requested help from independent pilots to provide exploration data focusing on ammonia worlds for terraforming purposes. The subsidiary of Sirius Corporation is working in partnership with the Alliance to establish colonies within the Coalsack Nebula and to identify sites of commercial and scientific interest. Dr. Maximilian North, Sirius Atmospherics' project director, outlined the requirements. We have developed revolutionary new terraforming procedures for terrestrial planets with ammonia-based atmospheres. Our collaboration with the Alliance is the perfect opportunity to try and put these to practical use, with the goal of transforming the region into a more human-friendly place. Sirius
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Atmospherics offers rewards for explorers who can provide us with exploration data. We are particularly interested in detailed scans focusing on the composition of ammonia worlds, not just in the Coalsack Nebula but elsewhere. Gathering 1
4, 3, 1.
ranging data will enable us to determine the most suitable targets for environmental conversion. Pilots are requested to deliver exploration data to the Sirius Atmospherics Research Facility at Betancourt Base in the Muscadark region PJ-PB61 system.
Fuel scooping.
Lakon Spaceways rejects Core Dynamics' bid. A proposal by the Federal Corporation Core Dynamics to purchase the construction company Lakon Spaceways has been officially rejected. Naomi Lancier, chairperson of Lakon's board of directors, made this statement. We thank Mr. Rochester and his team for their approach. However, I can confirm that Lakon Spaceways will remain an independent company. Business reporter Irfan Karim analyzed the situation more closely for the Alliance Tribune. This decision has surprised many analysts, considering the potential
Fuel scoop disengaged.
constant rumors that Lakon is in far greater difficulty than financial statements would suggest. Although its shipbuilding partnership with the Alliance proved highly lucrative, insiders believe that the firm has overstretched itself in terms of resources and
4, 3, 2, 1.
power. There have also been public comments from high-profile shareholders in Lakon who are pressuring the board to accept ownership by Core Dynamics. Some complain of falling dividends, while others accuse Ms. Lancier of focusing exclusively on Alliance contracts. A spokesperson
System scan complete. Fuel
Core
scooping.
Dynamics confirmed that the offer to purchase Lakon Spaceways has not yet been withdrawn, and that CEO Jupiter Rochester is looking at all available options. Bounty voucher boost to increase local security. Pilots Federation alert. Bounty hunters are advised that credit rewards for successfully destroyed targets have been increased. With the widespread redirection of resources toward faction and superpower militaries, local security forces are struggling to provide effective intra-system policing.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
With a rise in piracy and violent crime, this has led to a need for supplementary ships and manpower in the majority of systems. As a result, bounty vouchers for known criminals are now worth more in Alliance.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Imperial, Federal and Independent space. This increase will be honored by all starport security offices and other locations that offer interstellar factor services. Bounty hunter groups and private law enforcement agencies are alerting their members to the changes. This message
System scan complete.
from the
Fuel scoop.
notorious Casimir clan is typical of the information being distributed. Don't be surprised if you scan a wanted ship
Frameshift drive charging.
and it displays the same amount as it did before. Many security services haven't updated their networks with the higher payouts, probably to make it look like they aren't relying on us to do their dirty work. Once
4, 3, 2, 1.
the claim is validated, the appropriate increase is applied and will be visible in your transactions panel. As with recent dramatic changes to the pricing of commodities, a period of volatility for bounties is expected as market forces define their true value in these uncertain times. As yet,
System scan complete. Fuel
the
scoop.
value of combat bonds has not been affected. The shadow of war,
Frameshift drive charging.
NMA terrorist attacks and the Marlinist refugee crisis have driven an increase in military spending from both the Empire and the Federation. The Federal Times has reported on President Zachary Hudson's actions.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Building on the public outcry following the neo-Marlinist bombing of a federal starport, President Hudson has positioned himself once again as the Federation's strongman. This is clearly a calculated effort to regain political power after
Incoming mission critical message.
negative associations from the Starship One trial. Shadow President
Fuel scooping.
Felicia Winters' acceptance of Marlinist refugees has lost popularity now that terrorists concealed among them have murdered thousands. However, cooler heads in Congress agree that provoking the Empire could lead to a far greater death toll. The Empire's response mirrored its counterpart, as observed by the Imperial Herald. As well as the construction of new capital ships, Senator Denton Patrias has also ordered the withdrawal of funding for Aegis. The Senate's consensus is that since Thargoid activity has reduced, the focus should now be on the Federation as well as the internal threat of the NMLA. Cooperation between the superpowers is rapidly coming to an end, leading to a state of interstellar brinkmanship. There is a real possibility that the neo-Marlinists' demand for revolutionary change may have broader repercussions than they intended. Empire and Federation increase capital ship production. Pilots Federation alert. The Federal and
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Imperial navies have both requested commodities for the construction of new capital ships. President Zachary Hudson has convinced Congress to increase funding for the Federal Navy and to advance the construction program for Farragut-class battle cruisers. In a powerful address, he said, "Defending the Federation is our highest priority in these uncertain times. It is vital that we reinforce our capability to protect the people from all threats. The Federal Navy urgently requires additional resources to meet the new shipbuilding timetable. Deliveries of building fabricators, microbial furnaces and energy grid assemblies are requested at Schweikart City in the Perutis system." A similar declaration was made in the Imperial Senate mere hours later, when Senator Denton Patrias announced, "We face adversaries on all sides and from within, eager to corrupt and destroy our proud empire. This is a time to bolster our strength and our resolve." The Imperial Navy confirmed that new Majestic-class interdictors and other military vessels are being assembled. A request has been made for shipments of building fabricators, microbial furnaces and energy grid assemblies to Miyasaka Orbital in the manned system. Alliance consolidates presence in Coalsack Nebula. Pilots Federation alert. The Alliance has opened new starports in the Coalsack Nebula and is offering high prices for Thargoid-related commodities. Following a successful campaign to establish a foothold in the nebula, the Alliance has announced that several new starports have become operational. These are Betancourt Base in the Muscadark region PJ PB61 system, Coal Point in the Coalsack sector VU0B66 system, Hanu Arena in the Muscadark region IMVC224 system, Burin Port in the Coalsack sector KNSB49 system. The starports will serve as launch pads for further exploration of the region. Several corporations are working in partnership with the Alliance to locate commercial and scientific sites of interest. One of the new research stations, Betancourt Base, has requested deliveries of Thargoid commodities. Chief Xenobiologist Dr. Rodion Starthos outlined the offer. The Thargoids have been in the Coalsack Nebula for at least 200 years, giving us an opportunity to increase our understanding of this alien species. Thanks to funding provided by pharmaceutical and bioengineering companies, we can offer generous rewards for shipments of Thargoid biological matter and other artifacts. Core Dynamics bids to purchase Lacon Spaceways. An official bid for complete ownership of Lacon Spaceways has been made by Core Dynamics, a major shipbuilding corporation in the Federation. The announcement caused ripples in the manufacturing sector, particularly as Lacon has been in partnership with the Alliance for several years. The newsfeed Sol today featured a statement by Jupiter Rochester, the CEO of Core Dynamics. Lacon Spaceways has made a name for itself with its practical and well-respected ship designs, the workhorses of the galaxy. Core Dynamics can help the company reach greater heights and be even more successful. This can only be a positive move for both corporations. As with our acquisition of Verdal last year, Lacon will retain its talented engineers and production facilities while operating under our guidance. There has been no response yet from the board of directors at Lacon Spaceways. Some industry specialists have speculated that the company may have financial difficulties after investing heavily in the Alliance Chieftain and its sister ships. Questions have been raised in the Alliance Assembly about the legality of inter-superpower corporate mergers. However, neither the Federal Commerce Authority nor the Independent Commission for Market Equality have disapproved of the proposal. Investors take control of Lacon Spaceways. A coalition of Lacon Spaceways shareholders has voted to replace several members of the company's board of directors with new management. At an emergency general meeting, investors put forward a resolution to remove selected directors in accordance with Lacon's Articles of Association. The majority vote was in favor of this resolution. New appointees to the board have already stated that the rejected bid by federal shipbuilder Core Dynamics will be reappraised. Jupiter Rochester, the corporation's CEO, has welcomed the opportunity for fresh discussions. Chairperson Naomi Landseer, who is one of the directors being replaced, told Vox Galactica, "It's no coincidence that the board members being voted out are the same ones who are against Core Dynamics owning the company. I am convinced that Rochester's people are bribing or threatening our shareholders to make sure this hostile takeover goes through." Lacon Spaceways is currently offering a 30% discount on sales of Asp Scout S, Diamondback Scout S, Keelback S, Type 7 transporters and Type 10
Mission. Objective complete.
defenders. Core Dynamics has applied a 30% markdown to sales of the Eagle Mark II and the Vulture, with a 20% discount for Federal assault ships, Federal dropships and Federal gunships. Terrorism respite as Marlinists prepare for new homes. As independent colonies are set up for Marlinist refugees, there has been a lull in terrorist strikes from the Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army. In recent months, the paramilitary group launched multiple attacks across the Empire. Starports and administrative buildings were bombed and dozens of individuals assassinated. including Prince Harold and more distant members of the Duval family. However, the number of incidents has fallen drastically following successful operations by the Imperial Internal Security Service. After the Federal Security Service
Cannot comply.
identified NMLA members aboard the emigrants' megaships, these were transferred to us for interrogation.
Shift drive charging.
We obtained information that enabled us to shut down many terrorist cells, although there is evidence that the NMLA's network remains widespread. In related news, hundreds of thousands of Marlinist refugees are preparing to occupy new colony systems established by the Sirius Corporation. Mass transportation will take place early next
Shift drive charging.
year, overseen by Safeguard
Shift drive charging.
Interstellar. The Empire, Federation and Sirius Gov have all agreed that the settlements will remain
4, 3, 2, 1.
independent. The refugee population has already begun to determine its future social structure based on the principles of Marlinism. A transitional parliament has been formed by community leaders such as Dr. Jenna Fairfax, Aaron White and Amrita Ross. Democratic elections for a representative government will take place once the Marlinist colonies are operational. Rackham's Peak Outpost marks galactic zenith. Pilots Federation alert. Multi-billionaire Zachary Rackham's new orbital outpost at the galactic zenith is now operational. Rackham's Peak is situated in the HIP 58832 system, one of the highest practical locations above the galactic plane. Its construction was funded by Rackham Capital Investments.
Kruger, Alpha, Lima, Papa. Federal Flight Control Channel open. Observe docking protocols if you wish to land.
In conjunction with
You are in a no-fire zone. Retract weapons immediately. Landing permission granted. Vectoring for approach to landing pad 4-2. Automated docking assist is now in progress.
Scan detected.